If you're along the Gulf Coast, you're about to see an absolutely rare and historic winter storm bringing record-breaking snowfall to some locations. This will cause major impacts, but the unusually cold Arctic air driving this rare storm is even more dangerous, with dangerous wind chills and record low temperatures expected as an Arctic blast deep freezes most of the US over the next couple days. In this video, you'll see what to expect from this historic and dangerous weather pattern. But first, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more weather updates. So here you can see the watches, warnings, and advisories from the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service has issued winter storm warnings for Texas and Louisiana, even South Texas and Houston included in this winter storm warning area. And this will get extended eastward as the winter storm gets closer to the time frame where it's going to be moving into the southeast. But yeah, this is the historic rare winter storm expected across Texas. And we do have still some winter weather across the northeast that's kind of moving away. So really, we have to look at this big winter storm. We also have all of these cold weather advisories for a huge section of the central and eastern U.S., even extreme cold warnings across the northern plains and parts of the Midwest, and also for parts of Alabama. You have extreme cold warnings where there could be some dangerous wind chills expected that could cause frostbite quite easily. So this big winter storm, what happens is it starts on Monday night. You have kind of light snowfall across Colorado on Monday that kind of moves southward and then meets this moisture, this rain coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, and that combines over Texas on Monday night. Going into Tuesday, you have this big winter storm that it's moving pretty quickly, but it's going to dump some heavy snow across parts of Texas, especially southeastern Texas, going across Louisiana, southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, and going across the Florida Panhandle, even also into Georgia, and then the Carolinas. By later on Tuesday night, it finally reaches the southeast, where it could also produce some snow over there. There's also the potential for some freezing rain across northern Florida and southern Georgia, and that would be a big problem if that ends up happening. And then that storm kind of disappears, but you do have some very cold temperatures behind this winter storm. Some dangerously cold temperatures, actually. And then that storm pretty much moves away, and then let's see when the next winter storm will actually be. But this Gulf Coast winter storm is very significant. The National Weather Service shows the total snowfall. This is going to dump heavy snow over Texas and Louisiana especially. You have potentially around an inch of snow, maybe a half inch to an inch of snow across San Antonio, according to the National Weather Service. Over southeastern Texas, that's where the heaviest snow is going to be. Possibly 4 inches of snow over Houston. That would be record snowfall for Houston. This doesn't happen, like, ever, really, to have that much snow over Houston. I think the record snowfall for Houston in January, at least, I think was 2 inches back in the 1950s. So this would be the most snowfall ever, but at least the biggest snowfall since the past 70 years. And then we have possibly 5 to even 6 inches of snow across parts of Louisiana, and not northern Louisiana, southern Louisiana, close to Lake Charles, could even see 4 to 5 inches of snow. And then we could even have possibly up to 3 inches of snow across New Orleans, 2 inches across Biloxi, Mississippi, and then we have Baton Rouge could see up to 5 inches of snow. That's a lot of snow. Even Mobile, Alabama could see 2 to 3 inches of snow also. And then this kind of moves across even Georgia, possibly seeing 1 to 2 inches of snow across southeastern Alabama and central Georgia. And then even Tallahassee could see half an inch of snow. The last significant snowfall they had was 1/10 of an inch of snow in January 2018. If Tallahassee sees half an inch of snow, that'll be the most snowfall possibly on record for January, at least. Then as it moves towards South Carolina, we can have 2 inches of snow for Charleston, and then even along the coast of North Carolina, 2 inches of snow from Wilmington, and 1 to 2 inches for the Outer Banks. And this is the National Weather Service, so this is a, probably a cautious estimate. There's some of the forecast models actually show a lot more snow. Here's a look at the Euro model showing possibly 6 inches of snow for Houston. That would be absolutely wild. And then possibly 7 inches of snow, 7 to 8 inches of snow, perhaps in parts of Louisiana. That's a lot of snow. And then we have 5 to 6 inches south of New Orleans, and then possibly going into that 2 to 4 inch range of snow across southern Mississippi and Alabama, and also the Florida Panhandle. Tallahassee could apparently see 1 to 2 inches of snow, according to the Euro model. And then possibly along the coast of Georgia and South Carolina, seeing 3 to 4 or 5 inches of snow. That's very significant. The Canadian model is really going crazy with this snowstorm, showing possibly up to a foot of snow in southeastern Texas and southern Louisiana. That would be just incredible if that were to happen. I think this is probably going way too extreme, but it's still going to be a historic snowstorm. Like, this is going to be the most snowfall in decades or perhaps ever on record for some of these locations. The freezing rain could be even worse. Now, fortunately, the freezing rain doesn't look too bad for Texas. Like San Antonio, possibly seeing less than 1/10 of an inch of freezing rain. Some areas could see up to 1/10 of an inch, or maybe only a few hundredths of an inch of freezing rain and ice accumulation. That would be more minor impacts. Also, Louisiana, like the New Orleans area, could see some slight ice accumulations, but it actually looks worse for the Florida Panhandle, the Tallahassee area, even southeastern Georgia. It looks like there's the potential for 1 to 2/10 of an inch of ice accumulation, according to the National Weather Service. There could be even more than this, but even 1/10 of an inch for Tallahassee, that would be really bad. Even Gainesville could see just a little bit of freezing rain, perhaps, according to the National Weather Service. That's wild. And then even Jacksonville, yeah, this could actually be really bad. And then even the coast of Georgia could see some more freezing rain. And overall, the Winter Storm Severity Index from the Weather Prediction Center, they show pretty much moderate to major impacts going all the way from Texas. We have over southeastern Texas, we have moderate impacts, but major impacts in the Houston area. And then also for parts of Louisiana, we have major impacts, including Baton Rouge. New Orleans looks like moderate impacts from this. And then southern Mississippi, southern Alabama, also moderate impacts. Going across to Georgia, going along the coast of Georgia, like Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, South Carolina, moderate impacts there. Elsewhere, you do have a wide area of minor impacts going from Texas all the way to North Carolina. With that, that's the overall impact. And we do have the ice impacts are pretty much minor, but more icing impacts possible across northern Florida, the Big Bend of Florida, perhaps. These are areas that, have been hit by hurricanes, and now we're having a winter storm. That's really just very unusual. And then we have for southeastern Georgia also potential for significant ice. So this winter storm is pretty wild, but what you don't see, what's actually driving this winter storm, is what's actually a lot more dangerous. The Arctic blast that's actually going to practically take over the entire U.S. over the next couple days. We have these way below average temperatures really moving in. By 10 a.m. tomorrow, we have way below average temperatures. This is probably 40 to 50 degrees below average across parts of the northern plains. And then this pushes east pretty quickly, actually. By Tuesday, we have way below average temperatures across pretty much the entire eastern half of the U.S. But then what happens Tuesday night, you notice the coldest temperatures are in pretty much 2 locations across the Gulf Coast and the Ohio Valley and West Virginia, Pennsylvania, that whole area. And the thing is, I think a lot of these really cold temperatures just stay around the Gulf Coast. I think part of that is probably if there's a lot of snow on the ground, it's just gonna help keep those temperatures even lower. So yeah, we have well below average temperatures across the Gulf Coast continue all the way to the end of the week, even into the weekend across Florida, before finally things do actually warm up. Then more Arctic blasts are possible at some point. We'll have to see before things do warm up, but this very significant Arctic blast really is most intense over the next couple days before it really tones down by the end of the week. This is bringing record low temperatures to a lot of places. Yeah, pretty much it's Tuesday night going into Wednesday with the lowest temperatures, these record low temperatures across Texas, parts of the Gulf Coast like Louisiana, and then also in the Ohio Valley, kind of Ohio, Pennsylvania area. That's with the coldest temperatures, and you could also have record low high temperatures too. That's the thing where it gets really cold at night, but also in the daytime it's going to be very cold. Temperatures in the teens, 20s, even single digits in some locations, and then high temperatures in the low 30s in Texas and Louisiana, and also high temperatures in the single digits in Michigan. That was on Tuesday, and then Wednesday it extends further east across, going all the way from Pennsylvania and kind of the mid-Atlantic area all the way down to the Gulf Coast, with highs in the teens, 20s, and 30s, even highs in the 40s, in the low 40s in northern Florida. That's pretty wild, and that's really cold temperatures. Here are the actual temperatures going into tonight into Monday. Low temperatures, negative 25, negative 30 degrees across North Dakota, Minnesota. Even some of these locations in the south, temperatures getting down into the 20s, but it just gets colder. You have on Tuesday, temperatures warming up to negative 10, negative 15 degrees across Minnesota, Wisconsin. And then we do have temperatures in the mid-20s across the Gulf Coast with this winter storm, and then it gets colder right behind that winter storm, and there could be power outages if there's freezing rain and stuff like that. And then it just gets really cold behind that. You could have temperatures dropping down around 10 degrees across southeastern Texas, even parts of southwestern Louisiana, even southern Mississippi. Temperatures in the low teens on Tuesday night, and then it gets cold again on Wednesday night. Not quite as cold, but further east across the Northeast, temperatures in the single digits or even below zero. And then slowly things start to warm up, but it's still pretty cold along the Gulf Coast. Low temperatures continue in the low 20s, even on Thursday night going into Friday. Then we could have low temperatures in the low to mid 20s across the southeast, and then things do warm up after that. By the end of this week into this weekend, then that for the most part does warm up, but the next couple days are going to be very cold for a lot of locations. Zooming into the Texas area and the Gulf Coast, low temperatures on Tuesday night when it's going to be the coldest into early Wednesday morning. Temperatures possibly around 10 degrees in the Houston area, Lake Charles area, all these places. It's very cold. All these really cold temperatures will burst pipes too. That's another concern with this. The wind chills are going to be even worse. You have wind chills could be as low as negative 50, maybe even negative 60 degrees across North Dakota and also southern Canada. In some locations, they could have wind chills up to negative 60 degrees. That would cause frostbite almost instantly. And then this really cold air kind of moves eastward throughout Monday and Tuesday, even going into Wednesday, but then notice what happens. You have wind chills in the negative 20s across the Ohio Valley, the Michigan area, and the Great Lakes especially. Negative 20 to negative 30 degree wind chills, but it does look like the wind chills are going to be even worse than the actual temperatures. It could feel like it's in the low single digits across parts of Louisiana, especially, according to the Euro model, and even in the Houston area, single digit wind chills. And that's very dangerous. All of this would cause frostbite, especially further north, where these wind chills are in the negative 20s, negative 30s, negative 40s. That's very dangerous, but dangerous wind chills along the Gulf Coast, because this usually doesn't happen. Usually the winter temperatures could get down to maybe in the 20s, but wind chills in the single digits, that's very dangerous. And it's not quite as bad than the next day with wind chills, but still wind chills in the high single digits in North Carolina, perhaps, and in the low teens across Texas and Louisiana. After this winter storm moves through, yeah, very, very cold temperatures. This is, in a lot of places, record-breaking cold temperatures for a lot of places. Yeah, this is a very significant event with this historic, once-in-a-lifetime winter storm, and then the dangerous Arctic blast, bringing dangerous wind chills and record-low temperatures behind it. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button, share the video, comment below, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more weather updates. Extreme Weather Zone, out.